So, what I'd like to do now is kind of get to know everybody in the audience. So I'm going to start out front here and have everybody stand up and tell a little bit about themselves. So we'll start with you right here. No, I'm just kidding. Totally kidding. No, it's like in high school, you know, when you go to high school and they make you stand up and say, you know, how your summer was and everything. So, let's see, what can we talk about first? I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, so then maybe I can answer some questions that you might have before you ask them. I started playing piano when I was like 5, and just because I was like always into music and stuff, and just kind of jumping around and dancing and carrying on. So my parents suggested that I learn to play an instrument, and I didn't really like it that much, you know, because naturally you had to practice and stuff, and nobody really likes to practice. So I started playing guitar when I was like 7, and the reason for that was I saw a poster of Kiss, and I saw like Gene Simmons there with his blood dripping out of his mouth and breathing fire and stuff, and I figured, you know, that'd be a great reason to get dressed up in this costume, as if I could, you know, learn how to play the guitar. So I didn't even realize that it was a bass, that there was a difference. So that's why I got into guitar, and I took lessons until I was about 15, and when I was about 12, I got in my first like high school band, and we were really horrible, but we didn't know that back then, so it wasn't too bad. But we'd like play at high school dances and stuff like that, and you know, did that whole thing, and you know, carnivals and stuff. And then when I was 15, I got into a full-time cover band, and we did dates like in Baltimore and Delaware and just like the East Coast kind of thing. And I got a lot of experience playing live. You know, we probably played about 500 dates. And I was still in high school too, so like I'd go to school and get up and like go play and come home at like 2 in the morning and have to get up for school the next day. But it was kind of cool because like I would get out at 12:30 every day, and I had the school convinced that I had a job and I went to work, but I really went home and went to bed because I was out till 2 o'clock the night before. But it was kind of fun, you know, to go out and play and do those gigs and, you know, pick up older women and stuff. So after all that happened, I got hooked up with Mike Varney, and I sent him a bunch of tapes in Spotlight, and just kept sending tapes until finally he put me in. It was pretty neat because like when he put me in, I didn't even know I was in, and a friend of mine called me from Boston and was like, "Dude, you know, you're in Spotlight," and I thought he was totally pulling my leg, so that was kind of a cool thing. And from there, I started sending Mike more tapes, and he eventually called me, and we started talking about doing a record, and that's where the first record came from, is after we decided to do it with Steve Smith and Stu Ham. That was really great, too, playing with those guys. You know, it was kind of neat because I was an 18-year-old kid just coming out here, you know, for the first time, and being, you know, locked up with all these great musicians and stuff. It was really fun. And now I just finished a vocal record, and I'm singing now, so I'm quitting guitar, and I'm just going to become a lead singer. So what I'm going to do is try and get into like a band, you know, as a lead singer. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm going to continue the singing thing, and like I have a band back home. When I get back home, we're going to do some dates and play out. It's like a 3-piece kind of thing. So it's kind of cool. Any questions on any of that stuff?
Yeah. Do you like play any other types? Are you a rock? Are you a rock? Or do you play jazz and blues also?
Well, the thing is like I can't really play classical or anything like that, but like I can kind of fake my way through jazz because that's what my teacher was when I was learning to play, and I can play blues stuff. But it's like I'm really more concerned about developing, you know, myself as a singer, songwriter, and, you know, guitar player kind of thing. And, you know, I'm more concerned about developing a style and having, you know, people say when they hear me, you know, that, hey, it's Richie Kotzen, and that they can identify that, as opposed to, you know, being like, you know, some sort of chameleon that no one can seem to, you know, put a grasp on. Yeah, that's just kind of what I'm into. But and plus, there's so many people that play the other styles so well. It'd just be like, you know, why should I bother to learn that when? Yeah.
Really put together any new styles that you can like show us?
Yeah, well, I have some clinic sheets here with licks and whatnot that we'll go over. Some exciting little things on there. So it's kind of like licks that I do a lot. Any other questions about stuff?
What's the songwriting process for the instrumentals?
For the instrumentals, they were all different. I never, it was weird, I never really wrote instrumentals before. Like, the first time I got the idea to do that was when I heard that Vinnie Moore sound page when it first came out. So I decided to try and do it then. And what I do, like sometimes I come up with a groove and like put music to it, or sometimes I come up with a chord progression, put a melody to it, or come up with a melody and put everything else to it. It really depends, you know. And like a lot of times, like to come up with some of the weird rhythmic things, like I would just turn the quantizer off my drum machine and just play really weird things. And it was weird because I didn't really know what it was. And then when I got out to California, you know, Steve Smith was like, well, you're doing this and that, and, you know, explaining it to me. So it's kind of a neat little thing. Any other questions?
Do you have any schooling at all in music, or is it all
self-taught? No, I learned from, you know, a private teacher. You know, I took lessons and I kind of did it that way. I went to the school called Guitar Summer Workshop in Connecticut, which was kind of neat, but it was really a bad experience because I was 15 and I was really homesick, and like they had really poor facilities in the showers. Like you can only take a cold shower, and it was only cold water. So I took one shower and I didn't wash the rest of the week, so I totally stank, and that's what I was known for up there, was my intense, you know, physical reeking. So figured that would be something good to know. It might improve your picking technique or something. No, I try not to, because I just feel that it's best to be totally natural, you know. So that's why the fans here. So my stench is blowing this way, it's not blowing this way. So, totally kidding. Huh? The new album should be out in about 3 weeks, but you never can tell with shrapnel. Huh? How old am I now? I'm 20. Still a baby.
For like a beginner, how difficult would you say it was to learn that? Like calluses?
How difficult was it to learn to play? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, how difficult was it to get the moves? Was it changed by the person?
I guess it depends on the people, you know, I don't know. I mean, it was weird because I just kind of played, and I like played in bands and stuff like that, and that was my thing, and I really wasn't, you know, tuned into like all the wild techniques and whatnot. You know, I didn't really have a clue, and then I started hearing, you know, some of the things that were coming out, and then I kind of got into it, and I spent a lot of time, you know, learning that stuff. And you know, now it's the thing where I just really play. You know, like I don't really like practice scales or anything, or like if I want to come up with something, then I'll come up with it and work on it until I can play it. But you know, when I get up in the afternoon, I don't go and start practicing scales. You know, I'll just get up and play, and then if there's something that I want to do that I can't, which happens all the time, I'll just sit and figure it out until I can do it. You know, but you know, it was weird because when I went out to do this record, I played like less when I was out in California last time than I ever did. You know, like I would just get up and like, you know, watch TV and just hang out. You know, and it was kind of good because I played better on this record than I ever played before. So it's really, it worked in a weird way, and I think what happened is after I did my first record, I spent a lot of time trying to learn, you know, technique and know what I'm doing rhythmically and all that kind of stuff. And I think when I learned all that stuff, it kind of sunk in, and when I got away from it for a while and didn't play, you know, that stuff sank in and became a natural instinct, and I didn't have to think, well, gee, you know, I'm going to do an arpeggio here or whatever, you know, it just kind of flows, and that's like, once you get to that point, you know, it's kind of a cool thing. Feel free to raise your hands. I need to see hands. No. Yeah. Well, who influenced me the most? I don't think one particular person influenced me, you know, any more than any of my other influences. But when I first started out, like Kiss was a major influence for me, and then I got into like Aerosmith and Peter Frampton and Ted Nugent, and then I was getting into these people. It wasn't because of the guitar playing, because I didn't really know anything about guitar playing. I was just, you know, taking lessons, and I just liked the music. But the first guitar player that I really got into was probably Van Halen, and it's pretty funny because the first time I ever heard Van Halen was on the Beat It solo, and I thought that it was Brad Gillis, so I was totally, you know, didn't have a clue. And then the Flexible stuff came out, and I really got into that. And Steve Morris I really was into because my band played some Greg's covers, and then I got into Steve Lukather, and then from there, like, I kind of stopped really getting into guitar players. Like now, I don't really listen to guitar music at all. You know, like the last record I bought was Jane Child, so because I like to dance too. But anyway, yeah, because like it's weird with the guitar. Like sometimes, you know, if you play all the time, you just get sick of the tone of it. You know, and like like when I was at the NAMM show this year, walking around, like I hear all these guitar players, and it just really gets on my nerves after a while. Just hearing the tone of a guitar, after you're around it all the time, it's kind of nerve-wracking. But so I don't really listen to guitar music. I listen to other kinds of music.